and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge Short Flights. I'm your host, Lance, and today we're going to be discussing episode 2 of Undead Unluck. If you watched my last episode, you guys learned that I'm also going to be reading the manga along with this series, so I can share and contrast any kind of differences that might come about. Uh, Again, this episode was pretty to a T to what the manga was saying. This covered chapters 2 and 3 of the manga. Chapter 2 was relatively short, uh, and chapter 3 was really more about all about the battle. And yeah, like I said, it's all right there, all the main talking points. It's a lot of fun to see those little I don't know, whatever. So in this episode, the biggest takeaway was we got to find two more of these negators. Now, in the last episode, I teased that they were called negators, and these guys that we're now going to be running into now have special abilities. And we run into two of them. So, one being Void, and he was the unavoidable, and the other one was Shen, and we don't quite understand his ability yet, but we theorize that he does something about opposites. And one thing that I picked up on in the anime that they didn't necessarily say anything in the manga, but during the fight, the Shen, the guy with the one that offers the uh, last spot to go kill the guy in Russia, who's doing all the talking, the pretty boy, he had an eye closed. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he was fighting, he had one eye closed the entire time. So I think that is going to be important when it comes to his ability. We'll have to find out in the future if that gets explained, but it was very obvious to me that it was some kind of quirk to his ability. Now, lots of fun stuff coming out of this. I mean, our boy Andy is just going crazy with shooting out blood, flying all over the place. He has so much going on with him that just doesn't make sense. But I think what they kind of showed in the manga actually is they explained a little bit that he can just like burst out stuff. And we kind of saw that with his attack called Parts Bullet, taking a page out of Yu Yu Hakusho's Spirit Gun, but we got to see that he can just shoot out body parts as long as they're already a little bit torn apart. You know, he can't just shoot his finger bullet all willy nilly. He had to bite it so that he would break the skin and then he can shoot it out that way. So he can't just randomly do it. So that's another thing that we have to keep in mind. Another part that might be important. I'm not too sure yet, but maybe it was just a quirk of his ability too. But he mentioned that his unattached body parts only last 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, they disappear, and they kind of showed that. So I wonder if they're gonna play into that one a little bit more. It was a little bit more important in this episode because when Void was gonna go grab him, he grabbed an arm from the rubble, and that was a way to distract him because that was just a body part, and he was just going to dissolve and he was going to regrow his stuff anyway. So I wonder if that's going to be interesting. We got to learn a little bit about Undead's past. We find out that he's been alive for over 200 years. That's very interesting. Makes sense. Dude can't die, so how long can he actually live for? And we found out that 50 years ago, he got caught by the Union and he spent 10 years being tested on. So crazy. Also in that same vein, he still feels pain, even though it doesn't look like he's taking it. And maybe he's just used to it. You know, his tolerance for pain is just no longer there. So, dude's going through some crazy stuff. One part in the manga, it was just a picture, and they were just noting some things. I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm gonna share with you guys. The way he stores his sword, he just puts it into his body. You know, he doesn't have a sheath or anything like that. He sheaths it with his body. So I thought that was pretty funny. He has some tattoos that always grow back, and he's got a scar on one of his pecs. I don't remember which side, but he's got a scar, and that always comes back as that scar. So I wonder if we're gonna get all of that at least that scar explained. And the tattoos. I mean, that's whatever, but I want to see an explanation on that scar. And I think we found out in the last episode he has a thing in his head that keeps him sane because he can pull it out and then he can just get all crazy and he can attack. So I want to see more of that too because that's action. So it's always fun. Other than that, that was this episode. We almost got a sex scene. That was kind of funny. Unluck was just about to just get down and dirty right in front of Shen. Also, that Andy can get his time in. I mean, I thought for sure. I mean, I didn't think it was actually going to happen, but I'm sure the thought process was more along the lines of getting that super unluck accident to happen after sex because that'd be, super touch. And then that could eventually allow them to escape. But of course, that's not what happens. And yeah, I wonder if they're, nah, of course their relationship's going to grow. I did not read much further. I just like a page. I went a little further. They're on their way to Russia, and we know stuff's going to go down on their way there because they got quite the trip to make. They're going to be sailing, they're going to be flying, and they got a long distance to cover. And I can't wait to see what happens. I wonder if the next episode they're going to just get to the 10th guy or just, one of the other negators and actually kill him. There's got to be some kind of problem that's going to occur and they're going to struggle for a little bit. But I think for sure that they're going to end up killing this guy and then they're going to find a way to get their foot in the door inside this union so that they can make their seats. And right now, that seems to be the goal. Go kill the second guy so that both of them can become union members so that they can no longer be chased. And I think that's going to be the big part. So can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble on for a little bit. And before you go, make sure you follow the Anime Show on Facebook and Instagram. Stay up to date on everything anime related. And also give us a follow if you haven't already. It would help a lot. And we got a lot of other anime that we're covering this fall season. So find the rest of our content on YouTube there too. And I'll see you guys next week.